Hello. Today I am going to show you the proper way to use a spill kit in order to keep yourself and others safe. The spill kits are located in the laboratories where hazardous chemicals are stored and handled. Before we get started, I want to remind everyone that Ingredion employees will only be cleaning up spills that are incidental to the operation. That means that if you don't know what the material is or what the hazardous properties are, then you should not clean it up. You should call extension 5100 immediately for assistance. Remember that the top priority is to keep yourself and your coworkers safe. The first step is to assess the spill and determine if it is safe to clean up or not. Ask yourself questions such as, what are the hazards of this chemical? Is it flammable? Is it corrosive? How can this chemical hurt me? This is why it is so important to be familiar with the hazards of the material. Based upon the quantity and hazards of the chemical, a determination has to be made whether a spill is considered incidental or not. If a spill is not incidental, then it is considered to be an emergency and will be cleaned up by a third party who is more highly trained. Emergency situations include spills that are larger than 1 liter, or highly hazardous chemicals including propylene oxide, phosphorus oxychloride, and fuming acids. There are resources to assist in making this evaluation. Each department has a trained employee to assist with the cleanup process. There are a total of 30 employees, and a list will be sent to you by email. The Emergency Response Team, or ERT, has also been trained, and extension 5100 must be called if a spill kit is going to be used. The ERT will assist with decisions and any medical emergencies that may result from a spill. In the event that a spilled chemical splashes on someone's body, the most important thing is to assist them in getting to a safety shower immediately. If only the person's eyes are affected, then the eye wash will suffice. However, other parts of the body require the use of a safety shower. The clothing containing the chemical should be removed from the body in order to prevent further skin damage from chemicals such as acids and bases. Safety showers should be used for at least 15 minutes to ensure adequate removal of the chemical. The ERT, including the site nurse, will attend to any injured employees and ensure that they receive appropriate care. So now let's talk about the spill. Let's pretend that this beaker contains 100 milliliters of ethanol. When I spill this beaker, let's see what happens. First, we need to evaluate the situation. The spill is less than 1 liter, and I am familiar with the hazards of ethanol, so I can clean up the spill using the spill kit. This is when I retrieve the spill kit and ask my coworker to call extension 5100 and report a 100 milliliter spill of ethanol in lab 2100. There is a sticker on top of the pail reminding everyone to call 5100 in the event that the kit is being used. The kit contains PPE, including chemical and cut-resistant gloves, goggles, absorbent socks and pads, universal absorbent material, a pan and brush, a waste collection bag, and trauma shears to remove contaminated clothing if required. The bucket will be used to hold any broken glass and spill cleanup waste, including absorbent material, gloves, along with the pan and brush. The first thing to do is put on the safety goggles and the gloves. If the chemical container was glass and has broken, be sure to put on the cut-resistant gloves under the nitrile gloves for cut protection. Remember, the first order of business is to protect yourself. If the spill is near a floor drain, use the absorbent sock to surround the drain to prevent the chemical from entering the sewer system. The absorbent socks are used to surround the spill, and then pads are placed in the center to absorb the liquid. Leave the pads in place for a few minutes to allow them to completely absorb the spill. Then the absorbent material is placed into the hazardous waste bag and labeled as hazardous waste. Now let's pretend that this larger beaker contains 250 milliliters of ethanol. If a spill is larger and the absorbent socks and pads are not going to be sufficient, then use the universal absorbent powder that cleans up acids, bases, and solvents. Pour the powder around the outside of the spill to prevent spreading, and then fill in the circle with more powder. The powder takes about 5 minutes to absorb, so give it a little time. Then sweep it up using the pan and brush and place the material along with your gloves into the bag. Finally, place it into the bag and label it as hazardous waste. Remember that coworkers, your area-trained resources, and the ERT are here to help make these decisions. And if you do not feel comfortable using this spill kit, call extension 5100 immediately.